shut up and sit down.
Hi everybody, welcome to another episode of Build, Paint, Play. I'm Dave, and this is Dan.
Ozborne.
Awesome. Sorry about that, Dan. Jake and I were messing around with intros after last week's show, and we're still working on it, of course. But hello everybody. I'm not sure who is here just yet. Looks like we've got a couple of viewers. Just checking things out. Josh is here. Scott is here. Nice to see you guys. Jake is not here this evening. Jake is going to be completing the packing. So he's packing up his house at the moment. I think they move on Thursday. So, yes.
He'd rather be packing and not talking hobby.
Yeah, he'd rather be doing that. So, I will let everybody know, technical issue-wise, I had a chat with Mel on Thursday of last week. Mel Bowes, the terrain tutor, who does a lot of live streaming. And it turns out that I was using the wrong OBS. So now I'm using Streamlabs OBS. But I am not sure if we're still choppy. Is our video still choppy?
I have a second window. It looks choppy, but that could also just be my Wi-Fi struggling to keep up with Discord and everything else.
Right. Okay. What can you tell us, Josh and Scott? Is it still choppy? And do we still have the crazy fan noise? The phantom fan noise? If we don't,
I don't. Sounds good to me.
Sounds good to you?
Sounds excellent.
Excellent. So we'll have to see. But yeah, still not sure about that choppiness. I think it's
super choppy. Scott says.
Yeah, super choppy. Yeah, it's happening, and it's something that.
My robot dance. Then I'll just slowly robot dance. Talking about robots, anyways, right?
We are going to talk about robots, so choppy actions are good. Just nothing, no big elaborate movements.
Slow and careful.
Yeah. So yeah, as long as we're fairly static, we should be okay. We'll get into talking about those things.
Just don't blink for the next hour.
Yep. Excellent. Hi, Matt. Matt Birdsall is in the chat as well. But yes, so I think I'm going to be talking with Mel again tomorrow about what's going on. Because it appears to be in Streamlabs. I've got the little Streamlabs window open, and we're kind of choppy in there. Discord is just fine. Streamlabs is a little choppy,
it's
and of course...
spirits. They've not been properly appeased.
They have not.
Sacred text we need to reread. We'll make sure that happens.
I don't want to have to read any sacred text.
Well...
Can I just intone some sacred chants, or...
Yes, I don't know.
Like pin some purity seals on it? We'll try and get that thing working. One day we'll get this. One day this will go super smoothly. You know when that day will be? When somebody else takes over the technical role from me.
when somebody else reads the sacred text?
Somebody else reads the sacred text, exactly. I might have to pass all of this over to Jake, and once he's in his new house and he's all settled, then I can just dial in and just talk about toy soldiers and stuff.
Part, yes.
Do the easy bit, which would be absolutely great. So cool. Fantastic. Scott says it's a cross between the 1913 filmed baseball highlights and the fake moon landing videos, kind of choppy. So
Well, that
absolutely
works.
great.
Yeah, it works.
Matt said bumped into Dave at an FLGS in Maryland a few years ago. That would probably be Games and Stuff, would be my guess. Or possibly Titan Games and Hobbies, the other choice. For places near me that I would go to.
Games and Hobbies, just the word Titan. I like
Titan,
it. I like it a lot.
The logo is a Titan holding an enormous die on his back.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Where's this fiend?
Looks great. Excellent. Jeff's here. Jeff is the old wolf. Good evening, everyone. Yeah, the machine spirit is just a brain in the jar.
Jeff Wolf? Is that Jeff Wolf from
no, Jeff Smith. Yep.
Jeff Smith.
Jeff Smith from back in the day. Exactly.
Wow. Hello. Good to see you, friend. It's been a while.
Cool. And Matt said, great work on the Gen Con boards. Got to see those in person.
Dude, those were excellent. They were really, really cool.
Yeah, you got to see them in person as well at Gen Con?
Sort of. I was, I was helping out, and I kind of did like a detour walk on my way to where I was going, and I checked a couple of the tables, but the GW table was immense. And I saw that box that you had built too. It was just like,
yep.
I don't even know how you did that. Just looking at the shipping box itself was a masterpiece of like how everything slotted in just perfectly, how it was all structured so nothing got crushed. It was, yeah, that thing was amazing, dude. There was
a lot of thinking that went into that. A lot of thinking and a lot of planning. And save that until the final week. So
it looks great. And especially when you got all those models on the table, like, dude.
Yeah.
That looks so cool. And Caleb had painted the Primarchs, and they just, right center stage, the giant Titan in the back, just ready to stomp and murder everything.
Yeah. No, that looked that was definitely cool. It was nice to see some photos. Would have been great to see it in person, but we can't all get there. But no, that's next year for sure. But
it was actually my first Gen Con. It was
really?
Yeah, it was big. It was a lot to take in. Word to the wise: don't ever go with Converse All Stars. Chucks are not a convention shoe.
They are not. No.
But other than my feet, everything was amazing. It was really cool to see so many people. The general attitude of people was super chill. There was a lot of just really rapid and excited hobbyists, and even people who had never seen Warhammer and stuff. They were just like, wow, what is this? What are you all doing here? What is going on? You're building models? How does that work? I've never painted a model. Could you show me? And it was awesome. It was really fun to see so many excited hobbyists and potential hobbyists, kids, all of it.
Yeah. That's awesome. I think my first Gen Con was 2014. And it was about like almost 30 years since I first saw Gen Con advertised in the back of like Dragon magazine when I was a kid in Australia, and it was like, wow, that looks amazing. And then, but I'll never get to go. 30 years later, it was like, I'm going to walk around here and it's 40,000 people. This is ridiculously huge.
Well, I think this year was the 55th year, so it's kind of nuts.
Yeah.
Kind of crazy to think that anything's,
Yeah, that is super crazy. Super crazy. Moving right along in things in the show, I told Dan that we kind of had a format, which was a huge lie. But we're working towards a format. So I said that the first thing that we wanted to talk about was how was our last week, the last 7 days in hobby? How has that been for you? What have you been up to?
Would you like to start? It's been good. I am teaching several classes at NOVA, so it'll be my first time at the NOVA Open Convention, which is like, 3 weeks away? I think?
Less than that, 2 weeks. No, actually, no, you're right. Yeah, 3 weeks, just over 3 weeks, under 3 weeks.
Whatever it is, it's far too soon. I've been just in a mad dash of building. So I'm teaching, I want to say 6 or 7 classes. So I've been building models, prepping them, getting them primed, writing. I'm a former elementary school teacher.
Okay.
So anything that I do, I tend to overthink. And so therefore I have lesson plans
Right.
and staged preparations of every class and every different thing that we'll do in the classes. And then also too, just reaching out and trying to coordinate with different vendors. One of the things that I really love doing is just collaborating with different people, you know, like yourself, finding people that are, you know, whether it's a charity cause or a class that I'm teaching or just something that looks fun. I always try to reach out and interact with other vendors. So, you know, just coordinating with some people. I got some bits from Make It Epic. They've got these like 3D printed little resin bits that you can put on your bases.
Right. Yep.
So I chatted with them, and they were awesome, dude. They were super cool. We were just chatting for like half an hour, so they sent me some bits. I got some that Dirty Down Rust. Have you seen that?
Yeah, I have. Yep.
Yeah. I got one pot, I think, for every single one of my everybody who takes a weathering class with me.
Oh, awesome!
So Mark, the gentleman who's selling in the U.S.
Mark's actually local to me, local here to Baltimore. Yeah.
Oh, cool. So definitely. I've talked to him on the phone a couple times. He seems like that dude seems super awesome. Just really not very eager. He's taken a bunch of my classes. And I told him, I was like, hey, you donated this paint. Why don't we set aside a time for you to just chat about this paint?
Yep.
And he was like, really? Like, I'm not crashing your class, right? I'm like, no, dude. Like, it's a collaboration, man. Like, you're getting me all this paint and we're using it. And let's do it. Let's chat together. And yeah, so that's just coordinating with vendors and everything. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of prep work. You know, if you think that teachers just show up and magic happens, like, no. Like, no.
Yep.
So yeah, it has been taking an exorbitant amount of time, just getting everything ready and prepped. And then I did sneak away last Sunday. The local Warhammer store here in Oregon, they do once a month, they do a Titanicus meetup. So there's a couple local players and we play Titanicus. And inevitably it's me teaching somebody new how to play every week.
Right.
Every month, but it was a blast, dude. It's so narrative, and you start smashing Titans into each other and they blow up and explode and hit the thing next to them. And it was a super fun time.
That's cool. Sorry, Scott just said, how about an introduction to Dan Ozborne? I know all about his work with the SEAL teams and his history teaching the West Coast style offense to the Denver Broncos, but I don't know his hobby resume. That's coming, Scott. That's part of the structured format. We'll have Dan's origin story coming up soon. Very soon.
Hobby superhero. I don't know. Very Robin to your Batman, I think.
Yeah. I think I just love the idea of everybody having an origin story. So that's for sure. The key thing. This hobby. But this week, what was I doing? Saturday, I got to play 2 games of Horus Heresy. So my first 2 2,000-point games of Heresy 2.0, which was super cool. So I was prepping a lot for that, getting a bunch of my stuff sort of as finished up as I could. So what did I work on? I got my small stompy robot finished up.
Glorious, dude.
Yeah. So I will tell you that in the game, like 2 Gravis melter cannons on a dreadnought are super fierce. They're great for just popping vehicles left, right, and center. They're definitely super cool.
I heard the dreadnoughts in Heresy are really buff. They're super strong and just extra murdery.
They are, yeah. They've got it's like the Contemptor dreadnought has 6 wounds, and the Mara Gal, the possessed dreadnought for the word bearers, has 8 wounds.
But it's a possessed demon robot. Like, yes, thank you.
And they're both toughness 7 with a 2+ save and a 5+ invulnerable save. And because the weapons in Heresy deal out, like most of the weapons deal out 1 damage, like per shot, one wound per shot. Hitting it, and just and the way that the structure of the wound chart works, I don't think so bolters can't wound it, so you can't even just hit it with mass bolter fire. It's like they're pretty strong. I think that they might get a little bit of a dial back in the
our local
first
shop,
FAQ.
We have 2 Warhammer armor stores here in Portland. One's on the east side of the city, and then one's on the west side across the river.
Right.
And so the Eastport Plaza store, they've been doing Zone Mortalis, like just the 500 point on a small board. And I think what's happened, not intentionally, but people bring a Contemptor to fight the other Contemptor that's there.
Sure.
And it's just, it's a robot battle on this side of the board, and then over here it's all the Marines murdering each other.
Yep. Yeah, it's a pretty fierce thing. Ryan C in the chat, Ryan Carnes. I played against Ryan's Imperial Fist. That was the first game
Cool.
that I played, and the Galvorback troops were brutal in combat. The Marigal was brutal in combat.
Do you have Zardu Lyak and his Blade Slaves? Is that in your army?
I have them, but they're not in my 2,000 points. So
they absolutely have the best name in all of Warhammer, I think.
Yeah, definitely Zardu Lyak.
Zardu Lyak. Like, it sounds so maniacal. Like,
it is. It's totally crazy. But the what have I got on my list? So I took 20 tactical marines, 10 tactical marines in a rhino, 5 tactical support squad guys with the warp fire blasters, so the word bearer sort of tainted upgrades to plasma guns, which means they don't get hot. So I was expecting them to do really well. They did okay, but I just need to use them a little bit more.
Circle, those models with the high gorgets and those kind of cool looking arms, those are stunning. They're such cool models. They do
look awesome. I'm waiting a little bit to pick them up. I just want to see if or I'm hoping that soon there's the announcement of like assault marines. And then plastic assault for heresy assault marines would be fantastic. Despoiler squads, destroyer squads, all rolled into one box would be fantastic.
I really want to see the rules for Cabanda, because like I won't lie, like clearly anybody who knows me knows that I have no heart and soul. It's just all chaos and robot bits inside.
Nice.
But if Cabanda has rules for a like total traitor demon Blood Angels army, like I will do it in a moment, like in a heartbeat.
Awesome.
Easy
That'd be good. Yeah. The second game I played was against Blood Angels, actually, with a I can't remember the name of the Rite of War, but allowed them to essentially drop everything, almost everything in from Deep Strike.
Sweet.
It's one where you pick the turn that they're going to come in, and you pick the spot they're going to come in from, and your opponent knows that before they deploy. But it was still pretty fierce having 2 units of 15 strong assault marines and a unit of the Dawn Guard models sort of drop in. Like, surprise! Here for you.
The Dawn Guard, and they've also got those Angels Tears, right? The destroyers, the special destroyers.
Yep.
Those are rad. I mean, that's what's cool about the Heresy is all those models have so much narrative, and they're also cinematic, and there's so much feeling to them. Like, they're Marines, but every unit just feels special, feels bigger. It's just, oh my god, I love all of it.
Yeah. No, it's definitely super cool. So I've been working on that, getting those sorted. It's Saturday while I was out playing the games. What do you call it? An order from Pop Goes the Monkey arrived.
Oh, yeah.
So I don't know if you've seen that sort of stuff. So Matt Schweitzer does a lot of 3D sculpts and a lot of accessory pieces.
Yeah.
To stick onto the models.
Pads and extra bits to add everywhere, right?
Yeah. So I got some of the vehicle icons.
Cool.
And
nice.
There's a little one on the front there.
That's a lot of fun.
And then these ones sort of drop over the let me get it right.
Over the shoulder pad, right? It's just like an extra bit that goes on the outside of it.
Yep.
Yeah, that's fantastic, dude.
So I think he sculpted them all so that convex shape kind of matches the Mark III and the Mark IV shoulder pads. The Mark VI are a little bit different. So I just popped a little bit of green stuff behind them and fit them all on. So they're all
was wondering
Makes
what
them
that
come
was
out like
behind
that.
you. Oh, I see it now. There you go. A bunch of paint handles already up.
Yeah.
That's excellent.
And that's my warp fire blaster.
Ah, so cool.
Little bits of warp fire actually coming out of the plasma gun. But yeah, that's
I was all set to do a Death Guard army for Heresy, but then I saw those knights, those Dark Angels, Knights Cenobium. Is that what they're called? Those huge one-handed great blades.
Yep.
And I'm like, oh my god, yes.
Like, you have to do those.
Yes.
well, as you said, you've got to stick with chaos, right? So Dark Angels are the way to go.
I love it. Just have a little jab anywhere you can with the Dark Angels.
Yeah. So just quickly, I'm going to say, so amniotically tanked is Phil. Evening all, completely lost track of time. Thank God for YouTube alerts. Yes, they worked. Fantastic. That's great. And Scott says, let's get the Mark 3 and 4 armor kits back in stock. Need them. Agreed. Yes. That would be super cool. Yeah, I think I'm out of Mark 3. I've still got a bunch of Mark 4s because I have some of the Betrayal of Calth box sets, but.
I still have an unopened box of Battle for Prospero and Calth as well. So,
okay.
Yes.
Nice. There you go. There you go, Scott. That's where all of your Mark 3s are. In Dan's basement.
My basement of opportunity, yes.
Awesome. Awesome stuff. Cool. So, yeah, that's what I've been up to this past week.
Awesome, dude.
All good. So I guess the next thing for us to talk about, the next piece in the format, is what are you looking forward to in the next week or two? Nova, yeah.
Nova is it's big on my mind in terms of just getting ready. I'm teaching classes, and you know the thing that I love most with, you know, over the years, like I know when we'll get to the origin story, but I've been in the hobby for over 20 years, and it changes over time, you know. And I'm definitely at the moment now where teaching and meeting people has kind of been like the highlight and the thing that I've enjoyed most.
Right.
So sitting down and teaching people to hobby is just it's such a blast. And you know, people will come in and they've never done something or never tried something, and I'm very explicit in my instructions. So you know, I challenge everybody. I'm like, I challenge you to make a mistake and to try something new and not include this in your army, but just use it as a model to practice and learn on, and to see people take that chance. Because it's kind of terrifying sometimes. You've got this model that you paid money for and you spent a lot of time building it, and then they do something that they've never tried before and they're very hesitant, but then it comes out awesome, or maybe a little less than awesome, but they learned and they tried, right?
Sure. Yeah.
So yeah, I'm super excited for Nova. I'm excited for those classes. I also got to see, and I'm not sure if you've seen it yet, but that the new Hardin Steenbeck brush. Have you seen that Kiev brush?
Oh, from yeah. So I have seen some images of it. Have you placed an order?
I haven't placed an order yet, but I got to see when Caleb and Kat had one at Gen Con.
Right.
And dude, that brush is like, it's kind of weird getting excited for a brush, but it goes to benefit charity, right?
Sure.
And it has this awesome backstory of a local artist in Ukraine who, and if you watch you got to go to and watch the video that they have up on the HNS website. But she did these like incredible murals on the wall, and so they took that inspiration and made a brush. And it's not just like a recycled brush, but they did a bunch of changings on the internals.
Right. Okay.
They move seal forward, so it's a little. It just plays a little better. It's aluminum, so it's really lightweight. It's got this cool inner gold plating. So, just holding it and seeing it, like I super want to order one, and I'm really excited. Sounds weird, but a new toy to play with. Yep.
Excellent. No, what I'll do is I'll put a link to that in the show notes, the show description thing, so people can go and check that out.
It benefits a local children's hospital, so you get an airbrush and help kids that need help. Like,
yeah,
we'll talk about charity more, but that's amazing.
No, definitely super cool. And I no doubt Caleb and Kat, so it's CK Studios, Caleb and Kat, will be at Nova as well, running classes. So that'll be super cool to catch up with them.
Yeah, and Caleb and I are actually teaching a class together on Sunday. He used to do those 103 night classes, and we're actually just teaching it together, which is going to be super cool. It'll be a lot of fun.
Right, nice. That'll be definitely good.
And then I had another thing too, and I hope I'm not taking too much time. But the other thing I'm looking forward to all the GW Open events.
Okay.
I've been going and I've been going to those, and they're a blast, dude. Like,
Cool.
it's competitive gaming. You've got narrative gaming going on. They have an entire section of the event just dedicated to hobby classes. And then the final is in New Mexico, and they're actually doing a class where hobbyists will show up and they get handed a Warhound Titan.
Right.
And over 3 days, they build, and it's already built, but they paint the Warhound over the course of 3 days.
Wow. So it's they receive the Warhound already built.
Fully built, ready to go. They sit down and they start painting.
Yeah. That's crazy. Yeah, there's a lot of work in putting together a big resin Titan, right?
Yes.
Yep.
Yes. There's a lot of that.
We'll talk about that in a few minutes. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm super excited about that too, because that's going to be like, that class is just going to be bonkers. There's a huge narrative event in New Mexico too, so I'm
Cool.
just excited to see it all and experience it and just hang out with other hobbyists, because those events have been a blast.
Yep. You went to there was one in San Diego. Was that like 3 or 4 weeks ago?
There was one in Tacoma, which I drove up to. There was one in San Diego. There's one in Chicago coming up at the beginning of October.
Yep.
The end of October is Kansas City. And then November, I want to say it's like mid.
I think you're right. I think it's mid-November, like 11th or 12th, that sort of thing.
Yeah, it's not, it's not 60,000 people like Gen Con, but it is just a grip of super excited hobbyists. And what's cool is, you get that full gamut, right?
Right.
I saw people at the events this year that had never touched a model, right? Never played Warhammer. They just sat down, started building and painting. And then by the end of the weekend, they're like, dude, this is incredible. Like, how did I not know about this hobby already?
Yeah.
And then you also get like the super veteran hobbyists who've been around forever, maybe somebody you knew from before. And yeah, it's a lot of fun. I love it. It's like just being in the middle of it all,
Yep. Nice. That's good. So you're just going to quickly jump back in the chat. So Tabletop Test Drive is saying, what is going on here? Is this the Dave Taylor? Yes, I'm a Dave Taylor. So there are many of us. Matt said, picked up that Kiev brush per Vince's YouTube video. So yeah, I guess Vince Venturella must have done a video on it. That's great. Very cool. One of the things I did as well, because I'm always curious, that sort of thing, was I think there are two different colors. There's a black and a pink, and so I of course went for the black because I like to. There's a theme going through, right? And I think it was in the 240 euro sort of range, somewhere in there, which currently is about $240. And I thought, I wonder how much the Hutter and Steenbeck Infinity usually goes for. And so it's like just type that in. And it's like, $300, $310, $340, that sort of thing. So it was like,
I was talking to Kat
that's amazing.
Caleb about it. They were saying that there's a lot of, that's the weird thing. Like Caleb, if you sit down and talk to Caleb Westenbeck, like, he'll tell you all the little ins and outs and little minutia of how the air flows differently around the cone than it does on different manufacturers and all. But they changed a lot of the internals, and again, it's just a gorgeous brush. So yeah,
no, that's super cool.
Really a newer brush. So again, as silly as it is, I'm so excited to get a new brush.
Yep. Sorry, just quickly. Jeff said talking about getting out of your comfort zone. So that's when we were talking about that trying something new.
Yes.
I know Jeff's done a lot of painting over the last few years. That has not been for his Space Wolf army. So it's very cool to see some great stuff there. Some excellent busts and larger figures, like 75mm scale.
Busts are, I want to paint one of those too, because that is an entirely different skill set. The things that you do, because you can hide a lot of mistakes on a small model. That once you start painting something bigger, your blends need to be smoother. You can't hide those little spatterings or those little things you move around on.
And when you're painting an entire army, you can definitely hide a lot of things in an army.
Yeah, absolutely.
But Josh says, it is Tabletop Test Drive. So saying that, yes, it is Dave Taylor. Hear tell he's a good painter. Didn't he used to do a show called Painting Happy Little Minis? It's funny because I did used to do a show called Painting Happy Little Minis, and I used to do it with Tabletop Test Drive. It was Rick Agney, who is also known on TikTok as Tabletop Santa.
I'll have to check that out.
But yeah, Rick's a super cool guy. He's up in Michigan. I'm actually going to be heading up beginning of October. I'm going to be heading to Michigan, Lansing for the Michigan GT.
Oh, cool.
So I'll be running a few classes there and running a painting competition and hanging out and talking toy soldiers and all that sort of thing. So it'll be good to... Pardon?
What classes are you going to teach?
I'm going to do one on color schemes, basically getting a bit of color theory, a bit of contrast theory, working out, going through the different different uses of contrast. Not contrast the paint, but contrast the concept.
The light value, yeah.
That's
huge. That's something that when I've taught classes too, when you ask somebody, you're like, cool, so especially newer hobbyists, you're like, all right, so you've done base coat, you've done shade, you've done highlight, but how many of you actually painted in dark paint to create shadow and volume?
Yep.
And you can just see the light where people are like, wait, you can do that? And you're like, yes, absolutely, you know? And
yep.
I always relate to like that two-dimensional image, like first you draw a circle, and then you do this, and then all of a sudden you have a horse, right?
Yep.
And I'm like, adding shadows is one of those steps where your painting just explodes and your models look, you know, they look even more three-dimensional.
Yep. That definitely cool. So we're doing that, and also a slightly different trimmed down version of that, which is metallics, like true metallics, and the concepts behind those, and the idea of like if you want it to look like shiny silver, how do you use the paints you have to make shiny silver? How do you use the same paints to make like dull cast iron? What's going to read well as gold? That kind of thing.
Sounds awesome.
So that should be it should be fun. I've done the metallics before, but I do a lot of I do quite a bit of prep beforehand. I didn't do anywhere near as much prep as you do.
No lesson plan?
Not 100%. The first time I did it, I had a handout for everybody, and I had a like a PowerPoint presentation, and I went through, and I was like, okay, I was a little bit worried about how long it was going to take, and just sort of hammered through, and I wasn't engaging particularly well with my students. So for the 2-hour class, I'd gone through the PowerPoint presentation in like the first hour. So we had an hour of practice, but and then also they could feedback some suggestions on how I could slightly restructure the class for the second time I presented it. So
it's tough teaching because sometimes you have people who are like really phenomenal painters, and you're like, wow, like you're learning from me. Okay, like I need to step it up. And then sometimes you'll have friends and hobbyists who are very new and very beginning. You're like, all right, this is how you hold your paintbrush. This is how you pull your paint onto your brush, you know?
Yeah.
And it's a very interesting challenge, simultaneously teaching to both and trying to help them get their values worth, right?
Yeah, exactly. It's all a crazy thing. But yeah, so that's going to be something we've got coming up as well.
Super fun.
I'll probably mention that a few more times. Sorry, folks.
Yeah, you should.
We've got like 7 weeks until that happens.
3 weeks until NOVA.
3 weeks till NOVA. Yep.
Else.
Go check him out. But yeah, now, Scott, we've got to the point where we can ask Dan about his origin story. Excellent.
Okay.
So, the first question is, which issue did you first appear in?
Did I appear? I have not been in White Dwarf yet, actually.
Oh, no. I didn't mean like White Dwarf or anything. I was talking about like which comic book issue.
Well, obviously number 0, right?
Right.
I can tell you that, was it White Dwarf number 195 was my first edition.
Okay.
My first,
right, yeah.
yeah. So I got into the hobby maybe like a lot of other people, I was playing Magic, and I found this white dwarf on the counter, you know, and I started looking through it. I'm like, this is amazing. What is this? And like, I went to a local store. I lived in Orange County, California. So I went to Brookhurst Hobbies,
Right.
picked up a couple things there, and then they had also just opened the Block at Orange. So I went in there, and you know, it was done, dude. After that, it was just, you know, building and painting and diving headfirst into the hobby. And you know, I've kind of gone through waves. So I've been in the hobby since like the mid '90s. I think like '95, something like that.
Right.
And so in the beginning, there was a lot of play and very competitive play with my roommate and I, and we'd argue over the placement and syntax of a comma in the sentence, right?
Yep.
And then it kind of changed. I worked for GW in the early 2000s as trade, which was super fun. And at that point, I didn't play as much. I started painting. Then I went to college and became a teacher, and then I really didn't play much. But I kind of kept, you know, I've always been painting. I've always been building. Kind of always had a side hustle of like doing commission painting for friends, or, you know, doing army for somebody here or there. And then I ran a GW store like 5-6 years ago. I opened a store in Manhattan Beach, California. I was the founding store manager, which was like, it was amazing. It was glorious every day, just helping new hobbyists. And what's cool, and you know, I don't know, Games Workshop, the hobby, and Games Workshop, the company, has a really special place in my heart because, and it's weird, man, like, and I know you've seen me, but before I was in this hobby, I was never very outgoing. I was never very loud. But it put me in a Warhammer store, put me like anywhere around Warhammer, and I started just shouting and yelling and like get really big and animated, you know, and like,
Sure.
As I'm teaching classes, you know, like I was teaching a class on mangler squigs. I'm making all these sounds with a mangler squig, you know, I'm like, how could you not just enjoy this hobby? And a lot of the time, you know, I had some friends and all that, but then I kind of started getting a little more serious with my painting. I took a class with Kat and Caleb, and I was terrible. Like, I was somebody who did not step out of my comfort zone, and I wanted to fight everything.
Yep.
And at some point, Caleb kind of walked away, and he was like, all right, dude, like, let me know when you're ready to learn, you know? And something clicked, and something happened, and I was like, it just came together, and I saw what he was trying to teach, and I started applying it to my models. And then from then on out, like, it's just been, I've been very hungry to learn new stuff, to just, yeah, connect with people, teach classes, and just everything. It's just kind of grown and exploded and expanded from there.
Right. Fantastic. So would you say that the I guess the balance of your build, paint, play over the years has changed?
It's definitely changed. Yeah. As I mentioned, I was ultra competitive for a minute, where it was all, you know, 40K and like, I think like 3rd edition.
Okay.
And then in Los Angeles, War Machine became really big. So I was playing tournament War Machine stuff. And again, you know, I'll be really honest. When I get competitive, I'm not the friendliest person, I think.
Okay.
So, you know, I'm like, I had to stop, because it was like, yeah, I won first turn, great. And did you have, like, I never thought, did my opponent have fun? So as I've, you know, become more mature, I've realized that that's super important. I'd rather do narrative stuff.
Yeah.
So I don't play any competitive stuff, just narrative games, small skirmish games. But mostly building and painting. I'm probably in my studio every day for, you know, 4 to 6 to 8 hours every day, at least.
Right.
A lot of building and painting.
Yep. Very cool. So, but still a little bit of playing.
When I can, yeah. I really love the skirmish games. I really love, like, Warcry is fantastic. Titanicus is my absolute favorite, because it's got enormous robots, but it's so narrative and cinematic, right? So when you shoot a Titan, you're choosing where the shots go. You can explode the legs, which means it'll turn and fall and smash into something next to it. So those cinematic, exciting moments is what I really love when I'm playing a game.
Okay, cool, excellent. Just quickly,
I love building enormous armies too. Like, I have boxes and boxes of armies that are just ready to build. So I love building enormous collections. I don't always play with them, but it doesn't matter, because in my mind, I'm like, I no joke, probably have like 60 or 80 Imperial Knights.
Right.
I painted over 20.
Right.
But in my mind, I've got this enormous collection, and it just makes my heart happy.
Yeah.
That I'll build them.
One day. Nice.
One magical day, yes.
Fantastic. Josh asks, Dan, what are your current favorite paints for airbrush work?
Dude, hands down, the Citadel paintbrush, the Citadel air paint is fantastic.
Okay.
Like, it straight out of the pot, and even it's not in a dropper bottle, but it doesn't really matter. You just kind of hold the lid back, pour it in. Hands down, that stuff is amazing, and it color matches. So if you need to go in with a brush and touch something up, it's exactly the same. Beyond that, I do like artist inks, and I use a ton of enamels as well. Not through an airbrush, but I do use a lot of weathering enamels.
Okay.
A lot of fun.
Yep. Cool. And another question from Scott. So, well, you mentioned before War Machine, but currently is it just GW games and minis, or
For
you got a
now,
mix of
it's
stuff?
just GW stuff. I do have a little bit of like Matchbox, and my kids and I have played Gaslands together, which is super
Cool.
fun. I played X-Wing for a minute, which was casually was such a fun game. Competitively, the local meta was not very friendly, and I did not enjoy that.
Right.
But yeah,
Sure.
no, everything right now is GW. I mean, I have multiple armies for probably every range and every game. So,
Okay.
you know, if you get tired of this, you can just go to that, and you can go to that, and then you get excited for that first thing. You just kind of cycle through back and forth, back and forth.
Cool thing. Phil says, can't imagine being hyper competitive when half your mana pool can go poof due to a 10 on the catastrophic damage table.
No, yeah, no, you can't be competitive. I played one game from, I think it was the Doom of Moloch book, and it's the one where there's an Imperator. You imagine there's an Imperator in the middle, and it's brought down in the story, and the head like scatters, and then it explodes in like 2d10.
Okay.
So rolled for it. It rolled right into the center of my deployment zone. And then we rolled like 16. So everything within 16 inches took like D6 strength, a billion shots. And like I lost 2/3 of my army. But it didn't matter. It was so epic that like there was all these like chain explosions. Like, again, that game is so cinematic and narrative. Like it's just a blast. It's so much fun to play.
Awesome. That's cool. Dave Hummel has joined us. Hi, Dave.
Hi, Dave.
Excellent. Good to see you. Very cool. Excellent. So, do we have any other questions? Any other origin story questions for Dan?
And I would say too, just as we're waiting for questions, I think there's one of the things that really kickstarted my hobby was taking those classes with Caleb.
Right.
Justin Kiefer is a really good friend of mine, so we took a couple CK classes together, and we just kind of kept going to these different classes, and
right.
It's changed. Because I was going with friends, I was having a good time, but also my painting really started, like, I've always been an okay painter, but I think I really started learning some techniques and just became more comfortable with a lot of things, and that has changed my painting immensely and my hobby immensely.
Right. It's and I guess to some extent it's changed your thought on the purpose of painting, perhaps, rather than painting just to have an army to put on the tabletop.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, I've done commission stuff on the side, and so learning airbrush and becoming more familiar with that has been supremely helpful. But that concept we spoke to before, like adding shadows to your model,
right?
And now every time I look at a model, I think, how can I change these things? And again, like one of the things, like newer hobbyists probably wouldn't understand, but like when I first started, we had the white dwarf, and that was it.
Right.
So I sat in my white dwarf trying to figure out what was going on, and it took me years just to get like an edge highlight.
Right.
Because now you go to the local store and people, or you can go to take a class, and like the progression of artists now is astounding. But yeah, just learning those things, how to apply things differently, doing that little trick where you take a photo of your model in black and white.
Right.
there enough contrast there? Like, I had been doing that for years, and I never understood why it didn't look right in black and white. But now, I've begun understanding those concepts, and it's fun to really push it, to push different things that you're doing.
Yeah, that's cool. Excellent. Ryan has a question, which is, what origin story question do you always wish you would be asked, but never are?
I don't know. That's a good one.
It's probably got something to do with the bionic leg, right?
Yes, always bionic. Yeah, that's, and I never really realized. Somebody pointed out, they're like, wow, you paint a lot of knights. I'm like, yeah. I never realized. I love robots. Like, War Machine had robots. And then as I started looking back at my hobby past, I'm like, yeah, I love big, stompy, murderous robots and demons and chaos.
Right.
And all things spiky. Yeah, all of it.
Excellent. So the question that you would like to be asked more often in your origin story questions would be, so what's up with the robots? Is that it?
They're just random. Yeah. I mean, I guess a good question is, have you painted anything that's not a robot? And the answer is yes. I did a Salamander's Army maybe a year and a half ago. I'm actually just finishing up an Aldrad.
Okay.
For a buddy in LA. He wants to give a gift to his boss. And I was like, yeah, dude, totally down. So I stayed up till like 5 a.m. last night.
Right.
And it's funny because you have to reteach I had to reteach myself painting not metallic things, right?
Right.
How do you paint cloaks and flash?
Yeah.
Oh, it's just weird.
Were you wondering where on the model to put the masking fluid?
Yeah, well, I didn't use any of that either. Yeah. Yeah. That's weird. I have to like actually go in and highlight little bits of cloth. Oh, okay.
Excellent.
And I didn't weather it? What? God.
Nice. Cool. Well, there we go. There's an origin story. It may not have been everything you wanted, but you can always head to Dan's Instagram and hit him up there for more origin story questions.
Yeah, please do. I'm actually way more active on Instagram. It's just, I find it so much easier to post to and interact to.
Yeah. But I think we'll make sure there's a link to Dan's Instagram down below. But next up, we are going to switch gears to talking about big stompy robots, but starting off specifically with one that you've been working on for the last
5 months.
5 months?
200 plus hours, probably like 250 hours, yeah.
Yeah. Nice. So it's the one that we've got the head on the screen at the moment, but now we'll move to having a look at the entire piece. Let's make sure that there we go. Transitions are happening.
Yeah. So that's the NOVA Open Charity model, the Summer Raffle Warlord. This is AD MELIORIA, which is Latin for towards better things. I've actually done several pieces for NOVA. Even like years ago, I would find on forums like, hey, we're getting models, and I would just donate random models,
right?
Not necessarily knowing there was a convention or anything. But I did a couple nights for them, and then I asked, if I could have the chance to do the Warlord, and yeah, kind of that origin story and transition of painting. If I may say for a moment, like things are tough, right, in the world. Like there's a lot of nonsense. There's a lot of people that are really having a hard time, and there's a lot of armchair generals saying what they want about social politics and all that. And I was like, well, you know what? I'm going to do something instead of just talking nonsense. So I painted up a couple models. I think I raised over $15,000 the last 2 years, and then this year I wanted to do more, and Warlord is there, right? So got all the things that I love. It's giant and has huge stompy feet and missile launchers.
Yep. And that awesome Sun Fury plasma cannon.
Oh, yeah, that thing is. And credit to, if you look on Instagram, it's Ip Insta. Steve Smith is his name. I kind of got a lot of the inspiration for coloring from him.
Okay.
And also El Miniaturista, if you've seen his page, like Juan's work is astounding.
Yeah. No, they are absolutely fantastic. But yeah, as somebody who has put together my own Warlord Titan, it's sitting over that way. Yeah, I can say that this looks amazing. Looks absolutely beautiful.
Thank you.
It's got I went for the easier kind of route, doing a predominantly black and white color scheme. So
I don't think there's any such thing as easy when you're doing a Warlord. I really don't.
oh no, it was easy. But
I'm not exaggerating. There is easily 8 feet of steel brass rod in there.
Right.
5 millimeters. You know, every toe has like 3.5 inches of steel rotting. So there's 8 toes. It goes up into the leg, up into like every single joint is epoxy puttied. Because one of the things Nova had told me was that sometimes these things will break in shipment. So I obviously don't want that to happen. So dude, every single joint, every single connection is epoxy puttied. I think the only thing I super glued were the armor panels, very last.
Right. Yep.
There's huge, like, $half size magnets holding the weapons in, so you can actually pull off and separate the arms. There's an extra gun. The shoulder weapons come off. It's magnetized at the torso as well.
Yep. So with the torso, where the torso meets the hips, how big are the magnets there? What's the pull on those?
Enormous. Yeah. I should have put probably like 9 more magnets. The Magnet Baron, Constantine, he did sponsor the project and sent them out to me. It's really balanced. Like, you can go on my Instagram and you can see the build process where I had like a bubble level on top of it as I built it to make sure it didn't fall over, you know?
Yep.
So it sits in there perfectly. It's strong enough to hold. I probably should have put like 4 or 5 more just to have this like really strong.
Just really stack it. Yeah.
It won't fall. You know, it would be gentle, right? It's still 30 pounds of resin.
Sure. Yep. But you also don't want to get to the point where the attraction is so strong that if you accidentally have your finger between it, that'll crush your finger.
Well, you know, the machine god must be appeased.
This is true. He needs some sort of hemoglobin to grease the machinery.
For more bionics, you know. So it's a tangent. So when I was a teacher, the kids would come up. They're like, "Mr. Dan, my finger, I've got a cut." I'm like, "Oh no, we'll just cut your finger off and give you a robot finger, and you'll be more powerful." And like, I totally, you know, the kid would be like, "I'm fine," and they go sit down.
Yep.
And I thought they understood it was a joke, but then I asked my daughter, who's 8, and I was like, "You know this is a joke, right, honey?" She's like, "No, I thought you were serious, and I don't want a robot finger." Like, oh.
She wants the whole robot hand.
Yes.
To step it up. Nice. Excellent. I'm just going to switch to the next. We've got 4 or 5 photos of AD MELIORIA here that we will take a look at.
See that Scott asked, I hate painting large minis. How do you keep from burning out on a project? It's a great question. How do you keep from burning out on a big project?
How do I keep from it?
Yeah. What do you do?
I think for me the key thing is recognizing what sparks my enthusiasm for the project. So whatever it might happen to be, I just need to recognize it's going to be different for each project, and but if I know what it is, to be able to, if I'm starting to feel burnt out, to be able to reignite that in some way. It might be playing a game, like having a focal point. It's like, okay, well, I don't need to paint all 4,000 points of word bearers now, but it'd be really great if I can get another 500 points painted for this game that I'm going to play next week.
Build it up.
Yeah, and then playing a game and going, oh, it would have been better if I had this or that. Then there's a additional incentive. I might never play another game with them once I'm finished, but and so with the Warlord, when I was working on that, I did a series of YouTube videos that are
real. I used them as reference, actually. Thank you.
So I was going to say they were really terrible, but it was knowing that I had those. Like, the next step was I had to get that done, and I'd also said that I was going to have it done by Adepticon 2016. I think
Did you have it done?
I did.
Was it done? Yeah.
Yep. It was done. It was there. I actually did a class on painting big models
Oh, wow.
at
Excellent.
at
Here's my example.
Yep. Boom. Let's have a talk about this. And the best part was taking it apart and handing the different pieces of it for people to pass around the room and look at.
Wow, you really handed out a Warlord piece? Wow.
Yeah, well, like the head and then the weapons and then the torso. And to see the look on somebody's face as they were holding that and passing it around, like, was just fantastic. So, I was, it was good. It was, people were freaked out that the opportunity to hold that.
Yeah, I would agree with many of those sentiments. I think having a deadline is hugely important if you want to get things done within a certain time frame. And just having something that you connect with. For me, it was just the charity, right? I'm doing this for charity. It's not for me. It's for somebody else. So I want it to be successful, and as I mentioned, I'm somewhat competitive. So I'm not trying to be competitive against other people, but myself.
Right.
So I want this to raise more than I raised before,
Sure.
I want this to do really well. And I had actually spoken to NOVA because they do the three charities, right? Doctors Without Borders, Breast Cancer Research, and Fisher House Foundation.
Yep.
And I asked them to add a fourth, which is about children's literacy. It's called Reach Out and Read.
Okay.
So, I mean, it's a no-brainer, right? I used to be a teacher. I'm helping kids. I'm helping vets. I'm helping people who just need a lot of help. And so just finding that connection for me, if I started getting a little, like, ugh. I mean, don't get me wrong. Like, it's there many times, but doing things for charity helps me a lot. It's not just, a side hustle. It's not something for a friend or myself, but there's a bigger value to it, so that kind of pushes me to do harder.
Sure. Oh, that's cool. Phil asked, do you have a tutorial for the rust effects anywhere?
I do. So I put up the first part of it on my Instagram, and I think it went up to my Facebook page as well. I need to just upload and edit the second part, but it is up on my Instagram, and I will be teaching a lot of that at NOVA.
Awesome. Very cool. So we have the head up on the screen at the moment. Anything in particular? Any focal point that you like to?
Well, it is the Warhammer World exclusive head, which is kind of neat. It's got the different grill markings on the bottom half. Fun fact, and I don't know why I'm even telling anybody, but I dropped it and it shattered. So you can see those glorious pipes on one side, but on the other side they are not there.
Okay.
So I had to do some battlefield repairs and all that, but that was a fun challenge. It's the focal point. I on this model, I painted so many knights and titans and robots. I tried to do a lot more of that contrast.
Right.
Which is not easy to do on such a big model. It's totally different scale.
Yeah. Yep. Absolutely.
So I don't know if I was successful with it. I really did try out some new things, some new techniques, and I'm hoping that I pushed those armor panels, because a lot of times when you see Titans, especially big Warlord Titans, they're very flat.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
Not many people do shading on the panels. Very, very, very few people do any sort of shading on the trim.
Yep. Usually
the trim is just flat with maybe an oil wash, So I really wanted to push that contrast and give it some shape and some dynamic look to, especially the face, right?
Right. Yep. No, it looks fantastic. Absolutely.
I used fluorescent paints too for the eyes and the OSL.
Okay. Yep.
So they're really vibrant from across the room.
Matching, that matches the plasma cannon. Yep.
It does.
Cool. Excellent. We're looking at the next picture. We've got the sort of the overhead shot with the Apocalypse missile launchers.
Yes. Yeah, that was interesting. So Caleb Wissenbach and CK Studios, they painted a Warlord for NOVA 2 or 3 years ago.
Yep, three years ago, 2019. Yep.
Yeah, And so I definitely referenced Caleb's, and
nice.
it was Sam, Caleb, Justin Kiefer, and Vince Ventrola. They all kind of worked as a team.
Yep.
And one of the things I noticed, because this is a huge project, and I was looking for what shortcuts I could take that didn't feel like a shortcut, if that makes sense.
Yep.
Right? And so I was hoping I could get away with not painting that very, very top white.
Okay.
And, you know, in the way that I use a lot of like liquid mask and you know, weathering and all that. So I was hoping I could just do it all metal. And then I saw theirs, the Siege of Heaven, and it was painted. So I was like, oh, okay, I got to do it too.
Yep. Nice. Nice.
And then the color scheme too. I'm sure you remember James Bell from GW back in the day.
Yep.
Yeah.
Sure
so
do.
I kind of have like a running inside joke with him where I use his Titans as inspiration, and I change the color schemes and whatnot just to kind of mess with him. So
Right.
the red and white kind of a little bit came from James, and I saw his Warlord, and you know, I wanted to do, of course, my own version and something that was different, but use some of those colorings.
Cool. Excellent. Quick question about the missile launchers, because I didn't do those on mine. I did the laser
Blasters.
Laser blasters. Yeah. All of those all those warheads, they're all painted separately, right? You paint those outside and then just glue them in, right?
I did.
Okay.
Yeah. It actually wasn't that bad, to be honest. So the red that I did, I used my idea, right? So you can see along the shoulder pad, there's that dark line, the shading.
Right. Yep.
So I'd actually painted the white first. So I painted the inside of the white, and I did the shading all the way up, and then I used Pro Acryl, the transparent line.
Okay.
I masked off the areas that I wanted white, and then I left the areas that I wanted red open.
Yep.
And I used the transparent yellow and then the transparent red.
Okay. Right here.
So painting those missiles was a snap, especially with the airbrush. It probably took 15 minutes, 20 minutes maybe.
Nice.
The only problem was that red. It's not really a problem. It's such a vibrant red that it kind of erased those shading.
Oh, okay.
On the sections of red, so I had to go back and add in more shading, so it matched with the white and the red panels. That way, the shading was consistent.
Right. Nice.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. Definitely does.
Looks and then great. Those, I don't know if there's another photo that shows them, but those deek are those heraldry items.
Yep.
Right. I've got the crossed keys,
the sword crown, on
the sword.
Let me see.
Some of those were from Fallout Hobbies. I think the sword and the fleur-de-lis.
Yep.
And then some of them were ones that I had actually made on my cricket.
Okay. Oh, nice. Yeah, I wasn't sure if the next photo was going to have some more shots of that, but it actually has zero decals, but just like 100% more crotch. So.
Well, that's a important part on every Warlord Titan, I suppose.
Yep. Yeah, without it, the legs aren't going to work. So.
Right. Well, you know what's so interesting? So you can see on the models, right? But we're looking at on the left-hand side the checker pattern and that knee.
Yep.
It's interesting painting these models where there's always one section that stands out to you, at least to me, and that leg section is my favorite part. And the OSL is probably my favorite part of the whole model.
Right.
I just love the way the arrow comes up and the check pattern stands out.
Yeah.
It's fun making that heraldry on big nights.
No, definitely. Awesome. What's the next one? Oh yeah, okay. We had to give the rear shot as well.
Yes.
So yeah, no, go for it. What were you gonna say?
Well, I was gonna say there was a meme going around a couple weeks ago where it was like, Instagram pro painters don't paint the back of the model. It's painted. There's not a lot there.
Yeah. No, it's fantastic. I love the one of my favorite things is the safety rail.
Yeah.
That's there. It's like if that had been a Star Wars model, no safety rail.
No, of course not.
Yep.
I'd actually flirted with the idea of putting like a Chaos Warrior back there or something, creating a little diorama.
Oh, like climbing up about to.
Yeah. But and it brings up a good point, like that Instagram meme and all that. Like a buddy of mine used to point out, I would spend exorbitant amounts of time on things that didn't matter.
Right.
And he would point out to me, he's like, why are you painting the back side? Why are you doing every little, like, you don't need to paint it, but don't put extra detail there because you don't want people to look at that.
Yeah.
Focus on the areas that really matter. So I, of course, painted it and I put a lot of love and detail into it, but there's extra to the front.
Yeah.
Of course.
No, for sure. Oh, Josh says, great work. Gotta run. Thanks for the stream. Thanks, Josh. Have a good one. We'll see you next week. But yeah, no, it looks fantastic. There's such great detail in there. And now, we're going to move on to having a look at some of your other work. So this, what's this one? This is
it's the Baroness Aurelia. So that is another Nova charity model I did. That was from last year.
Awesome.
I got those bits from Taro Model Maker. It's got a shield, a giant sword. It's got a waist extender.
That's the skull helm. The skull head there looks fantastic.
And those decals are from Fallout Hobbies also.
Right. Awesome. I think. Oh, sorry. You're gonna say?
I was just really quick. I'll actually show it. So the winner of that, one of my buddies, is a digital artist.
Okay.
So we spoken about the model and we had talked about, like, we made a whole story for it and everything, and then my buddy painted a digital painting, right, which I can actually hold up, and Nova printed this out and mailed it to the winner.
Oh, awesome.
And then sent me one. Yeah,
that's super cool.
So it has like a full story, it has a whole picture, and it's kind of my buddy's depiction of that model, but done in a more traditional format.
Yeah, awesome. That's nice. So do you have that hanging above your on the wall of your computer? Yeah.
Only thing in my basement that's like hung up.
Yeah, I think this is the only thing in my basement that's hung up as well. Excellent. But no, that looks fantastic. I think we've got to sort of look at the shoulder pad there. So let's looking at some of the super heavy weathering. You've done. So is this the weathering aspect? Is it something that you really focus on for larger models rather than smaller models, or is it something you try to put across every model that you work on, or?
Not every model, but every model, inevitably. I think, we all have our thing that we enjoy most, and in 3rd edition, I had an enormous Death Guard army, and that's probably where the weathering started, and it's just, I don't know, anytime I pick up a model, I just love adding battle damage, adding weathering, and I've grown, and my style has changed over the years, and it's continuing to grow. Every model I paint, like this was the first model where I actually used texture paint, right?
Okay.
A grilling earth that cracks.
Yep.
And I used typhus corrosion, and so that was a new element that I had never tried before. That really heavy enamel weathering.
No, I think I was gonna say, I think in the next. Nope, my mistake. I thought maybe in the next photo that I had.
Well, this one's weathered as well,
up.
just not as much. But yeah, it's just practicing and playing with different things. Going back to the question, how do you stay motivated? I think just trying new techniques.
Yep.
Even though maybe 3/4 of this model was painted the same as the other night, that 1-2 little techniques that I try, it keeps me interested and engaged.
Okay, so trying, basically using your and it's one of the things that I do with all of my projects is I have a regular palette of colors that I use and approaches. So and maybe just the ratios might change. So my reds, essentially going forward, my reds will be made from like burnt red and bold pyrrole red.
Those reds are so good.
But so if I want it to be nice and bright, it'll be mostly this, shaded with this. But my word bearers obviously are a lot of this and not much of this at all. That's a continuous standard that I can run through it. But then I can choose something on the model or on the project that is different that I haven't done before, and give that a. Yeah, it's just something new. It's something different, and it's not. I'm not trying 57 different things and getting overwhelmed. So,
well, and it also keeps your work more consistent, right? Like the armor trim and the skeleton carriage. Those are things that I learned from Caleb and his the CK class, the CK Studios class. So I inevitably I use those techniques a lot, but I've also changed them than the way he taught it. So it's very similar, but I've definitely done things slightly different. And then we've also come to where like I did things differently and he did things differently, and then they've come back together where we're doing something similar again.
right.
But then on other parts of the model, maybe it's the first time I made my own custom stencils on a cricket, right?
Yep.
I did these Game of Thrones inspired knights, and that was super fun. That was really the only thing I changed. And then it was maybe masking. I really enjoy like creating that knight heraldry,
Yep.
the stripes or the checks or the quartered pattern. It's so much fun to like sit and draw and create different patterns.
Mess around with that all. No, it's definitely definitely great. I think just quickly we're going to run through some of the others that we've got here. So we've got this wonderful Chaos Knight.
That was featured on the Warhammer community page.
Nice.
It was super fun.
Very cool. So what was it about that pose that you wanted to go for? What were you...
Just come at me. Like, just screaming, right?
Yep.
It was fun. Actually, I got to play a game after COVID. So I live in Portland, and Portland is taking things very seriously. We're just now having stores reopen,
Okay.
And so I got to go to the local game store and play a game, and I played against this dude who had a Tau. And he was super cool, and I told him, I was like, I don't really play very often. Let's just be narrative, and let's have fun. And, like, I got that night into combat with his ethereal, and, like, it was a total baited move. Like, he baited me away from the objective, and I lost the game because of it, but, like, I don't care.
Right.
Like, murder and ethereal.
You just got to get in there and...
And so I want to go back. I want to add like a little bit of blood effects, just add a little more to it. Because seeing it on the table, playing with it, like,
Nice. Next up, so this one here, the
that was another Nova model. So that was Nova 2 years ago. That was Othinius was the one I named that. I used a bunch of the Fallout Hobbies bits. That gun was a Fallout Hobby gun.
Okay.
Also, I used the bits, those underslung missile launchers and that face helmet, the knee pad, the bumped shoulders.
Right.
Those were from Iron Wolf minis.
Okay. Yep.
And that was just, again, it was just pushing, trying some new techniques, practicing OSL.
Yeah.
Make things dirty and weathered and terrible.
I think it looks fantastic.
Thank you.
Looking super cool.
That one actually, so that model, pretty sure it's that one.
Sorry, I'll go back to it. Yep.
That one, that Othinius one with the Death Guard helmet, I think a kid won that one in Washington.
Okay.
The story I heard, it was like, the kid was asking, because it was around the time of the protests, right? With George Floyd and that, the kid was like, how can I donate? Talking to his family, and the dad goes, hey, donate to Nova, and they support, this went to the Fisher House Foundation. And so the kid donated his $20 or, whatever his savings were. And, so
he won this.
12-year-old is rocking out with an amazing Chaos Knight. I love it.
That's awesome. That's super cool. And then moving on to this one. So this is an Imperial Knight.
Oh, the horror. This was
fantastic.
This was the model that I painted in that first CK class, so you can see just how much I've changed in terms of the trim.
Right. Yep.
The weathering was a very we used the stippled with like a foam. I don't really enjoy the weathering on that one. I definitely like the way I do it more now.
Right.
That yellow though, like that was where I was the worst student in the universe, fighting Caleb about like what to do and how to do it. And he was like, you just got to trust me. You just got to trust me. And I'm like, no, it looks like, and I wanted to do all these different things that I wanted to resort to what I know how to do,
Right.
Instead of like just jumping in and doing what the teacher's telling me to do.
Right.
But then I hit that yellow glaze and dude, it came together and oh my God.
Yeah. That's fantastic. And when you have those moments where it's, look, I've paid all this money to come here and learn from you, and so I'm making the decision to not learn at all.
Yeah, that's pretty much what he told me. And
Yep.
yes, that is definitely a giant hex bolt on the base. I don't know why, but I actually donated that to charity as well. Again, after the George Floyd protests, I donated that, and through eBay, it was Jeremy Wood. Have you seen the Real Broken Fingers on Instagram?
Okay. Yep.
He does a bunch of stuff. So he and some of the people from the IQ28 community donated models to various charities.
Right.
I followed their lead, and I donated that model. The proceeds went to the NAACP.
Right.
And the gentleman that won my model and Jeremy's model, he had a really cool night. The same person won both.
Oh, wow.
Awesome.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it was really cool.
Excellent. What's the next one that we've got? Let me see. Okay, we've got, well, here we go. We're back to Chaos.
Of course, glorious.
For this one, so.
Oh man, yeah. So this was my first model that I did after taking those classes, and I was like, I'm gonna throw the kitchen sink every single technique that I know how to do.
Right.
I did shipping fluids. I did, the little where you go through and you edge highlight every tiny little chip.
Right.
I used enamels. I used the Fallout Hobbies bits. There may be a photo too where you can pop the cockpit open and there's a little Chaos Warrior inside that's just all demoned out.
There is a photo. I have included that. I'm not sure which one it is. It might be the next one, but we'll see.
But yeah, and some of the things I like doing too, and it doesn't show it super well, but the base, I always use putty.
Okay.
Like sandwood putty or magic sculpt, or just something to build up the base to give it some dimension, so it's not just a flat.
Yeah.
Boring.
Cool. No, it looks great, and you can see that yellow is very definitely like you were super excited about the previous yellow.
Yes.
No.
Yeah, and it was weird because I started trying different techniques, and I found out that because I used inks to make that yellow, and the inks do not do well with chipping fluid.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah.
So I had to just going forward, you have to be cognizant of what type of techniques you're using, because I was reactivating the inks every time I tried to weather it, and it was driving me nuts.
Right. That's fair. Oh, there we go. So yeah, the next one is the pilot.
Yeah, I don't remember who makes that. Wargame exclusive or something.
Okay.
I can't recall, but yeah, dude. I mean, no one will ever see it except the people watching now. I don't think anyone's ever bothered to open it in the middle of a game. But
Pop that up.
Dude, look at that. And I love those hands just coming over his shoulder,
yeah.
Come to the dark. They welcome you.
They're super creepy. Super creepy.
Right?
It's like, oh.
it's such a. I mean, how could you not love Chaos? I don't understand.
You're not going anywhere. You're here forever. Forever. Excellent. So Jay is in the chat. Hi, Jay. This is the pilot. Looks wicked. Absolutely
Thank
does.
You. Yeah, and you can see some of that chipping in there too, where I individually highlighted every single little chip just to make it pop. I use those Fallout Hobbies, those Chaos stencils, which Ron has been awesome. He supported a lot of my charity work and sent out a bunch of free stuff.
Cool. Yeah, it looks great.
Thank you.
Lovely stuff. And let's see. Oh, okay. And we were talking before about how you don't always just paint knights.
There you go. Well, there's a great unclean one. Yeah. I think that model took me 3 months. That was probably, it was actually after one of the classes, and I just wanted to use that concept of contrast, right?
Right. Yep.
Big, blubbery, fleshy monstrosity. And so I took a lot of time airbrushing in, washing in, glazing, just all those deepest recesses. It's not just the shadow of light, but it's actually painted dark.
Right.
Right. And it's painted light. So making darker darks and making brighter brights. And just doing that in every little, his giant demon booby and his huge nasty stomach and all of it. It was a blast.
Yep.
And a billion little pustules.
Yeah, they look great. Those yellow pustules just stand out so well. And you can only do that. You can only get them to stand out like that if you put in the time to go through. paint each one, highlight each one, highlight it again.
So I think I watched Jaws 2, and like Jaws 3. It was like 6 hours of pustules only. I just watched like 3 movies in a row.
That's fantastic. And one of the other things I like as well, we were talking about the that concept of not I guess not not doing the same sort of approach across the entire piece, or doing things where or in this case it's really more putting those shadows in places where you're not going to be looking as much. So underneath that belly, and I'm guessing around the backside as well, and under those arms, it all pushes the focus up to that face.
Absolutely, yeah, and that's intentional, right? And I think that's something that, as you become a more experienced painter, you learn to incorporate into your work. Where like you can see his gut; it's a huge section of the model.
Yep.
Your eye doesn't stop on the guts because it's painted dark, right?
Yep.
You want to always look at each other in the head, right? The head and the hands are the most important. So those are the brightest parts. Those are the parts with the most detail, and it just hopefully continues to pull your eyes up and up and up. Yep. Even the nurglings, like the little nurglings hanging out, they're painted, but they're not painted to the highest level of detail like he is.
Right. Yeah.
Or at least his face.
They're cool things to notice after you've seen the face and you're looking at the rest of the model before you come back to the face again. Yeah. Yeah. Cool. Thank you. Definitely neat. Fun. That looks great. So I think that's the last photo that we have of your work.
Awesome.
So we've looked at AD MELIORIA, who is the awesome Warlord Titan that you spent the last 5 months painting up for the NOVA Open Charitable Foundation Summer Raffles for 2022. I have also painted an entry for, or a prize, an item, I guess, for the Summer Raffles. I did not go into anywhere near as much work as you did for this one. I painted up a Dungeon Bowl set.
Awesome. Oh, that's cool.
So we've got the College of Fire and the College of Shadows teams painted up, as well as all the chests and the balls and the markers and that kind of thing. So it comes with the whole set. So you get all the rules, you get all the tiles and that sort of thing to play Dungeon Bowl in. But yeah, so that was my effort. But and thanks to Sky Herrick from Herrick Games and Hobbies for donating that Dungeon Bowl set.
He donated, Herrick Games and Hobbies donated just that Warlord. He donated some paints and supplies because I had asked him, I was like, hey, this is going to take a lot of paint. He's like, yeah, man, I got you. And like, I used 2 entire cans of primer,
Right.
I used an entire bottle of varnish.
Right.
Just to seal it properly, and I'm talking like a full-on.
Yep.
So he donated a bunch to mine as well. I also had Fallout Hobbies donated some decals. Red Grass Games donated some brushes. Goblin Hut donated that Dirty Down Rust. Yeah.
Yep.
Always mention the sponsors that help. Magnet Baron helped out as well.
Yeah. No, definitely super cool to see so many people getting involved in it. Which is definitely good. But I think the raffles go. When do the raffles go on? Go live?
I have to check. I want to say like next week. They pushed it back. I know it ends October 3rd.
Right.
Could look on my phone real quick.
I think it might be this coming Sunday. So
yeah,
August 21st or something like that.
I think that's correct. Yeah.
So yeah, there are 40 or so different items, I think, in the summer raffles.
There's a ton.
Yeah, it is crazy. But I will once again, I'll have the link down in the description below, so you can go and check out what they've got coming. Yeah, Gary Krieger has been going through and photographing everything and videoing everything, and actually we have to thank him for the photos of AD MELIORIA today.
Yeah, he actually met up with me at the local Warhammer store because I'd kind of been going in over the months and slowly building on it, slowly working on it. So when I got it done, I'm like, I wanted to show,
yeah,
the hobby stuff little shop, and Gary walked in, and everybody was just standing around it like, oh my god. He was saying it was really cool because he gets all these models to photograph them, but he doesn't ever really get to see other people's response in real time, you know. So he was super excited to do that.
That is excellent. But yeah, so we'll put that down below, and no doubt that's another thing I'll mention a couple of times over the next couple of weeks. But yes, moving along, I think the next 9 images or so that we have are of from you guys in the chat.
Yeah, the community posts, right?
Community posts. So next up, the first one we have is from, I've written everything down. Look how, it's just on a piece of paper though, so it's kind of organized. Normally I'd try and remember all of these things, but there was a lot of additional information that I needed to keep track of. So this awesome Nurgle Knight is from Brandon Nuttings. So this is the first time Brandon's posted something in the group. This is Putrefex Rotphage, a Chaos Knight of...
Look at all the Great Unclean One bits that are thrown in there.
Yep.
I love it.
It does...
the bell, the head, the little Nurgling on top. Looks like the Feculent Gnarlmaw, the little tree sticking out of the shoulder.
Yep. And the bell hanging from that. He's got the bell in the fist.
The pilot at the bottom too.
Yeah. Yep. It's sort of... well, he's got the hatches off at the top, so I'm wondering if the pilot's just gone, you don't need me anymore. I've just got to go to the bathroom.
I naturally try to look above it, like I can peek into the photo. It probably looks all choppy, but I definitely am I just want to see. It looks like there's something in there, like a little tentacle, or maybe got some Nurglings driving the boat.
I totally hope there are some Nurglings in there, just messing with wires or cables or something. That'd be
I love it.
Be definitely great. But I think I obviously hear Brandon's gone with a lot of pitting and texturing, particularly on those armor plates, given that great sort of.
That's something that's fun with painting Nurgle stuff and Chaos is you get to do things that you don't do on other models, right? Can you imagine an Ultramarine being this weathered?
No.
No, just you don't get to that's a part of the hobby then that you never really get to kit bash crazy maniacal stuff. You don't get to pick up a pair of clippers and just tear into your model and wreck it, right?
Yep.
Welcome to Nurgle.
Tear it apart so you can rebuild it. But yeah, it looks fantastic. Great work, Brandon.
Super fun.
Nice one. Next up, we have a piece from Chris Kaimig. And it is a Warlord Titan.
Oh, hey, look at that.
Yep. So this particular photo, he sent me 2 photos. This one had I think a better look at the color scheme, but obviously he hasn't got all the weapons attached to it. It's just
I think that red panel stands out. It's kind of cool, and it breaks it up a little bit.
Yeah, it definitely does. It's the these are the is it the Warp Runners? There's Legio. I can't remember the name of the Legio. But, love the flames around the legs. But yeah, the symbol on the tilting shield on its right-hand side, our left. That's sort of the Nova with the black circle in the middle. Pretty sure that's the Warp Runners. But
I dig it. My eyes keep jumping back and forth between the heraldry shields, and it keeps you focused right in the center there with the head and the blue and the alternating yellow. It's fun.
And the red, so that red panel that you were talking about, plus the 2 red lenses down below, the red lens in the center of the head there's another little circle that your eyes keep trailing around.
Those stripes, right? The striping on the bottom, because they're facing up, it pushes you up again.
Yep.
I dig that. You could even do more of that, right? Add in some more of that white striping.
Yep. But no, it looks fantastic, Chris. Chris said that he entered this at Golden Demon in Adepticon, and was awarded with a finalist pin. So.
Oh, cool.
Yep, his first finalist pin. So definitely super cool there. Awesome work. Nice one. Next up, we have a piece from Jeff Smith.
Jeff Smith.
So
man, it's such a treat. I haven't heard that name in forever. So true.
this is House Hawkshroud.
Yes.
I think.
I'm sorry. No, it's Imperial. What is wrong, dude? Come on now.
You saw the yellow and you thought fantastic, but yeah.
Cool. I really dig that menacing girl with the red stripes down the center. He looks like he's just gonna punch you in the head.
Yeah, it does really add to it, doesn't it? Those red stripes.
Like a linebacker too, right? Because he doesn't really have anything up on top of the shoulders.
Yep.
So it's just very compact.
Yep. Yeah, it's all there. It's all menace in the shoulders.
Yeah. Even that photo angle is fun. I would love to meet it on the battlefield and
tear it apart with your twin chain swords.
I hope we all die. Every time I play Warhammer, I'm not happy unless everything dies. I want every one of my models to die. I want your models to die. Just glorious battle.
Fantastic.
Yeah, fantastic. Love it, dude.
But yeah, it does look excellent. And Jeff said, yeah, he needs to get back to painting some more of these.
Do it, dude.
Yep.
He
Definitely.
painted the toes. Good for you, man. I never paint the toes. That's like
the toes always end up as metallics and weathered.
Always, yeah. I mean, that's a quick thing to cheat that hopefully doesn't look like I'm cheating.
Right. Nice. What did I do with mine? I can't quite see them from here.
I like that white shoulder pad too. The Hawkshroud always has that one white pad. Looks great.
Yeah, it does look looks awesome. Next up, we have a piece from Mike Godley, and this is a. It's not an Imperial robot.
Oh, that is bright. Nice.
It is, isn't it?
Yeah, super cool.
Yep. So this is I can never remember the name of this.
Storm Surge.
Is that what it is? Storm Surge. Yeah. Now that you say it, it sounds.
One of the two.
That sounds about right.
The pink and gold go well together. It looks cool, and you can see he's trying to do some OSL on the base.
Right.
Looks great. I just add more like brightness to it, and that'll pop even more.
Right. I would be thinking some additional shading on the pink, just to push it, just in primarily around that top area, just to again draw that focus. As you said, like to get that you got that brightness, some shading in there will cause those central pieces to pop a little bit more. I mean, they pop a lot because of it. Yeah.
Careful with the panels that he painted, so I imagine they probably painted the pink first,
right,
and then went back gold, but very clean and careful painting. What color would you shade it with? The pink. What would the shadow color be?
I think I'd put some purple into it.
Agreed.
Maybe like like the old Lich purple kind of thing. Yeah. I have the Hexed Lichen, which is the Vallejo version.
Same thing with the golds. You could add in some shade there, right?
Yeah, some purple in the golds as well would be the way to go.
Oh, absolutely. Purple and gold is glorious.
Always a great choice. But yeah, I think it was just nice to see something that wasn't Imperial or Chaos for sure.
Absolutely.
It's excellent. Nice work, Mike. Looks great.
Still a stompy robot. We'll take it.
Yeah, exactly. And then moving on to Pete. I'm not sure if have we seen Pete in the chat tonight? And I will ditch that one. So this is Pete's first piece that he sent us. So this is one of the Knight Atropos. This is from House Chandrasekhar, which the house that he's put together, I think, is and these guys are for the Cult of the Singularity is the Mechanicum cult they work alongside, and all of the knights in this household are Atropos.
Oh, cool! Looks like some freehand too that they did on there.
Yep.
It's ambitious, very ambitious.
Yep. It does look cool. I think the basically on that crotch banner. I'm not sure what the technical term for it is, but I always call it a crotch banner. Yeah. you've got that and that icon on the left greave. Is that got
That's
that?
like one on the shoulder too, and then the centerpiece,
Yeah.
kind of eye, almost like the eye of Horus, almost.
Yeah. I was thinking it's more like we talk about this like a singularity event. It's some sort of celestial body and a horizon, sort of.
I see that.
Cutting
Yeah,
it.
absolutely.
Possibly.
That's a very ambitious model. It's definitely not easy to put together, and to get a cool pose out of it. It's very, very difficult.
Yeah, I've got one sitting in a box over that way.
I actually painted mine. Mine is my actual is painted.
Nice.
The only one of the Sarassus Knights I painted.
Excellent. And Pete also sent us this one. So this is an adeptus. This is a Titanicus piece.
I saw that.
But I have not seen these shoulder pads before, or that sort of top look. So I'm guessing it could be like a third-party printing.
Has to be, yeah. I saw this. We were chatting a little bit online how he did the kind of like a water effect to create those cool shoulder pad that look to him.
Oh, the sort of the swirls on there and stuff. Yeah, it does look.
That weapon is cool. It's almost like some crazy Volkite, or I dig it, dude.
Oh yeah, definitely Volkite stuff going on in that gun. It does look amazing.
Plasma gun, like the plasma guns on the back too. Do you see that?
Yep. I think that's what it is. It's probably that Sun Fury with some other, with that adaptation at the front with that twin Volkite.
What a monster, dude! Look at the base. Yeah. See the base? He has a piece of another Warlord. So that means he's chopped up a Warlord Titan and stuck it on the base.
Yep. Well, hopefully, there's so many parts to that Warlord that if you were to do that, you could then very easily spread that across 3 or 4 AT.
That's the essential piece. That's like the shoulder piece to it.
Oh yeah, but I'm saying that you don't just leave the rest of it in a box. You spread it across the basing for 4 or 5 AT armies. But yeah, this does look great. This is Polaris Alcyonius is the name of this Titan.
That is, so I was talking to James Bell, and he was saying when you name your first Titan, it's a little bit like naming your child.
Right.
A little piece of yourself in there.
Yeah. It does look awesome.
So cool.
Next up, we've got some stuff from Phil Karpovich, who is amniotically tanked in the chat. And when I saw this first, I was like, "Oh, that's super cool. That's it's like a 40K scale Reaver."
Yeah, it's great. The use of the terrain in there, and he's actually painted the terrain and nicked it to make it damaged.
Yep. But Phil, is this 40K scale or is this AT scale?
It's Titanicus.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it is. But
I dig that leg panel with the striping.
Yep.
Just slightly different, but it brings a bit of interest to the model. The white head keep coming back up to the top.
Yep. The detail on there is amazing. Just
So and that's one of the funny things. On the models that I do, I put a lot of work into the shadow and the contrast and the volume.
Yep. But
really, the undercarriage it's all painted the same. I don't paint like the hip here is like a brass. It's different than the steel.
Right.
I totally don't do that. I just do it all the same.
I think the hip and the thighs on this one are very similar to the way that I did mine, my 40K scale one. I didn't do quite as much verdigris on the hips.
It looks good.
But it does look good in here, yeah.
It looks like he's got some of the scorching too, the heat blooms.
Yep.
From the weapons. That's cool to see.
Yep.
Yes, and red missile launchers. Yes.
Absolutely fantastic. But yeah, excellent work there, Phil.
It's like you had to pick those out, right? They had to pick those out with a brush, each individual one.
That's you didn't get to slide them in afterwards.
No. Could you imagine dropping that piece. Oh my god.
Yeah. That'd be crazy. Well, the great thing is you could just pick up like anything off the floor and paint it red and stick it back in at this scale.
So with my Titanicus, I've got it all built. Nothing's painted, of course, because I paint everybody else's stuff first. But I drilled out the missile launchers.
Right.
So like every salvo is, I think, 5 shots.
Okay.
I drilled out 5 little individual missiles, like it's already fired 1 salvo.
Awesome. For a second there, I was worried that you were going to tell me that that you had one that was full, one that had 5 missing, one that had 10 missing, one that had 15.
Sure, absolutely. You gotta switch it out.
Switch it each turn, just so we know how many salvos you fired. That's awesome.
Oh my god, could you imagine?
Yeah. Oh, I could imagine. And then the next one we have from Phil as well is from the Auto Sinister, an Auto Sinister Warlord.
Yes.
We just got that. Yeah, that. And the scheme on those plates is very similar to what Pete had done previously on the on his Warlord. With that great.
This is a custom, right? This is a custom build because that's a plasma cannon with some extra bits in there, and then the head looks different. I can see it.
Well, the head's the Auto Sinister head. I thought
it's different.
It's
different because the Forge World one it runs all the way down. This has got that little.
Oh, okay. It's got the
Spartan kind of. That's awesome. I dig it.
Nice. Cool.
Those things are super fun. I actually used a Side Titan in my game this weekend, and they're ridiculous.
Yeah.
They can like ghost heal themselves, or like they can do this like quickening move, where they just sort of like zoom up the field and start blasting stuff. They're really fun.
Excellent. I just love that polished faceplate kind of look. So
it looks too. I imagine it looks like they painted in the shadows, right? Where you've got the top of the helmet, and then you've got that shadow, and then the bottom where it flares out a little bit.
Right.
That looks like it's painted in. That's really great work.
Yep. It looks like an excellent reflection.
It does.
It's like a maybe one of Kirill Kanaev's busts. That sort of.
They asked me, they're like, "Do you look up to anybody in painting?" I was like, "Well, there's this guy named Kirill. I don't know if I look up to him or hate him or love him, or I don't know. That person's painting is just ungodly.
Yeah.
So good.
It is amazing.
Painting reflections of other Titans that it's battling. Oh my god, could you imagine? Oh.
Yeah. Absolutely awesome. I'd want to paint a little sort of reactor meltdown going on in the back, like in the distance.
Like a whole explosion.
Yeah.
Oh, that'd be amazing.
Engine kill.
And that's why I love Kirill's work is so amazing, because the longer you look at it, you're like, oh, there's shadows they painted in. Wait, they painted in a shadow of the Joan of Arc, right?
Right. Yep.
It's like, oh, it's the shadow of the flag they're holding. Wait, there's also shadows of the soldiers that are walking past this model. Like,
yep.
Yeah, an explosion in the background with like a reaching power claw or something. That'd be so cool.
That would be wicked. Absolutely wicked. But yeah, nice work, Phil. And then finally we have Ryan. Mentioned Ryan Carnes before. So this is is this the Styrax or the Megara? I think it's the Styrax.
Yes, I don't know.
With the big Volkite.
Awesome. I can tell you that that's the sassy Nurgling right there in the middle.
It is the sassy Nurgling.
Yes.
And I love that he has a crotch bell.
Of course, yes. Well, hear me roar.
Yeah. So this is
I dig it. That looks cool.
House Yolm. And Ryan said that wrote on the post that this household they only bear daughters.
I see. And
down through the ages, through the years, the millennia, their basically reproduction cycle is slowed to the point where now they're sort of at the last of their line.
That's cool.
And they were the last of their line, and they their matriarch essentially called out to like scream to the void kind of thing. We need some help. What are we going to do? And Rodigus, answered and said, "We can maybe help you out with that."
Circle of life thing.
Sounds like you got a problem. We can help you. So
that kind of echoes the the Titan Death storyline with the Legio Solaris.
Okay.
Where they
I haven't read that one.
That novel, it's a similar where it's a female only Titan Legion.
Okay.
Right? And as they go through, they only have daughters, and I don't know what happens to the boys, but Steven in the ground, corpse starch or something. I don't know.
Sure.
That's cool. I dig the green and the gold and the verdigris. It works really well together with little bits of orange, little decay, rust.
Little pops of rust in there.
Yeah, very fun.
But yeah, it looks great. Very nice.
Having a story to your models adds so much.
Yep. The so Ryan has another one. I think he has a knight that he calls the Pockmarked Princess, and basically all of the armor plates are pockmarked, and so some areas you can like it's thin enough you can push through the skeleton. To the skeleton below. But he hasn't painted it yet. He's working on that. But I think when he gets a few more painted up, he and I are going to join forces with our Chaos Knights and go rampaging against a few other folks that we play against.
Meet up at a convention and have an enormous 1,000 billion point game of knights and robot. Oh my god!
I think it's one of those things where I'd be really excited to paint up a whole bunch of models for that. I'm not sure I'd be super excited to actually play the game. Maybe just line them all up and sort of push them around a little bit and say, "Hey, wouldn't it be cool if?"
Well, I've heard the Titan Walk folks. I heard that they use the Titanicus rules just scaled up.
Right.
That would
okay.
be a little quicker.
That could do that. Yeah. I guess using knights as the Titanicus approach for knights. Yeah, that could work.
That would be a little sad, though. I shoot my volcano cannon, Bellicosa volcano cannon, and you erase 8 of your knights that took you, 3 months to paint with one shot. Oh, that would hurt a little bit, I think.
That'd be fine. If you start doing the recycling thing, that'd be just fine. Sure. Yeah, they can die. I've got more coming.
Whatever. Come on this side of the field now.
Yeah. Excellent. And Ryan says, Scott says, "Nice work, Ryan. Hell of a story." Phil says, "The verdigris is sick too on the carapace. Such an awesome model." And Ryan says he has 3 or 4 more Chaos Knights that he must build and paint. You do indeed.
More. At least 7. Come on now,
friend. Yeah. Awesome. So there we go. That's all of the photos from the Build Paint Play community, which are super cool. I'm so glad that everybody threw in their big stumpy robots.
That was a lot of fun to see all the models.
Yeah, I'm a super huge fan of knights and Imperial Knights and Chaos Knights and that kind of thing. So it was really nice to see a whole bunch of those, and it was also cool to see that sweet Tau Storm Surge in amongst them.
Very cool. I definitely want to paint. I did what is it? Not the Wraith Knight. That's the Knight sized one. What's the smaller one? The Dreadnought sized one.
Wraith Lord.
Wraith Lord. I painted a Wraith Lord several years ago, but I want to paint a bigger, like a Titan size Elder, because they're so different, right? The curves and the shapes.
Yeah.
All those gems that you just shave, I shave them off because I don't want to paint them like gems.
Well, they're not all gems, though, is the thing. There's a lot of them that are just like blisters that they house technology underneath them. Yeah.
I think in my mind they were always gems, and I painted one with like 100 gems, and I was like, I'm never doing this again.
Yeah. But if you think about it, each gem holds a soul. How many souls you want piloting your... I'll say, is that why you shave them off? You shave them off and glue them to yourself? Okay.
Yeah. To match my dark inner self.
Fantastic. Scott says, "I can still see nothing but the Tau Storm Surge." Is it the image is burned onto your retina? Fantastic.
It's seared into your sight forever. I love it.
Yeah. That's awesome. But yeah, we've run a little bit long. I'm not surprised. Had Jake been here, we probably would have been a 2.5-hour show. But no, I think it's. Did I have fun? I had a great time. Yeah, awesome. It's definitely cool. Did you have fun?
A blast, dude. I know we haven't, like, we've known each other over the years, and every once in a while we'll bump into each other and we'll have a chat, and it's so much fun. So yeah, greatly appreciate it.
Yep, no, definitely cool. Thank you very much for being the first guest, first special guest on Build Paint Play. Yep, it's it's definitely cool to have you on and talk about something that we're both passionate about, which is cool stompy robots, and painting and gaming and all that sort of stuff. That's great. No, so we really appreciate that. We're looking forward to continuing to build the channel as we go. So this is the point where I say, please hit like on this video, hit subscribe, hit the bell, because now we know that notifications do work. Thanks, Phil. Let us know.
Share it on social media, because it's not just, obviously we're promoting the channel, but we're talking a lot about Nova. We're talking a lot about the charity work that we've done. Yep. And then we'll continue to do. I know you've done a ton of charity work in the past. I have as well.
Yep.
So yeah, help out other people who can use that help.
Definitely super cool to be able to do that. Scott says, Dave, it was probably a tough decision, but replacing Jake permanently with Dan was a good move. Massive improvement. Look forward to seeing Dan next week.
Excellent. I will clear my schedule.
Sweet. Tuesdays from here on out. No worries. That'll be awesome. Well, something that Jake and I usually come up with during the show or right at the end of the show, we work out what we're going to ask folks to think about for next week. So, but of course, with Jake not being on the show, he and I haven't talked about that. We should have. We should plan better, right? But
it's up to you and I now, I guess.
Yeah. What should it be? What should we talk about then? If it's not big stompy robot.
The topic of the show?
Yeah. What would be the topic of the show?
Oh man. Well, we did giant stompy robots. We talked about what about like skirmish games, like War Cry, Kill Team.
That's pretty crazy, because I was actually thinking about that yesterday. It's like skirmish, so like war bands, any sort of war band. So something that's like in the 5 to 12 model range. Yeah, cool. Yeah, we'll talk about that.
Sweet.
I think, yeah, nice. You just helped us come up with the theme for the show next week.
I don't have to paint a war band between now and then, do
I? No. You can just send me a photo of a war band of knights.
Yes. Oh, I can. I've got at least 20 of them.
Sweet. We need a family group shot.
Yes.
Awesome. Cool. Well, as I said, thanks very much for coming on the show. Thank you everybody who has watched the show and is going to watch it afterwards. But yeah, greatly appreciated.
Awesome. Thanks.
No worries. So
on social media, you can find me at D.Ozborne.
Oh, sorry. Thank you. Yes.
Yeah, no. I'm mostly on Instagram. I do have a Facebook account as well, but Instagram's where you find me most active. Occasionally on Reddit, but keep an eye out for the Nova Open. I'll be at the Nova Open Charity. Those tickets go live in like a week, I think.
Yep.
And I'll be at the Nova Open convention as well, and hopefully we'll see people also at those Warhammer events, because they're a blast, especially that Titan class. It's going to be a lot of fun. I'm super excited to see what people do with that stuff.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing the photos on social media from that. Awesome.
We're building an entire mana pool, like people. That's a whole dude. Yeah.
It's going to be great. But I'm going to catch up with you in about 3 weeks' time at Nova, where we can talk some more and we can do some judging of the Capital Palette.
That'll be really fun. I'm excited for that.
It'll be a lot of fun.
It's been a little while since I've seen a paint competition, so it'll be good.
Definitely nice. Awesome. Okay, cool thing. So, thank you, everybody. I've been Dave. This has been Dan. And we will see you next week.
Cheers.
Bye. Oh, now I need to remember to send us to the outro. Yeah. I got carried away with working out what I was going to say.
Shut up and sit down.